coffee ready to go. So I'm ready to go. Today I'm going to finish.
In this clip, I'm making a jig so that I can drill a hole at a 45-degree angle to the corner so that I can insert dowels through the miter joint. I'm using 3/8 inch oak dowels that I bought from either Lowe's or Home Depot. Nothing fancy, but they do help to strengthen the joint. And here I'm taking a block of utility, which is the same wood I used for the stretcher, and I'm making the wedges for the wedged through tenons, which you'll see in a minute. Now I am going to cut out the through mortises in the side of those through tenons for the wedges, which will hold the stretcher in place. The idea here when you're chopping out these types of mortises is that you match the angle on the mortise with the wedge so that when everything is together, there are no gaps. I don't remember if I got this right or not. My mom will have to answer that question. No gaps in any of your joinery. That's the goal anyway. And what I'm doing here is just cutting all of these pieces to their final width. Up until now, one edge of this project has been rough. This is me being super excited about sanding.
Pro tip time. I want to cut out an arch here and here. I would like the arch to be symmetrical between these two pieces. So here's the tip. Once you establish your center line where you want your arch to be, in my case what I was trying to do was have it 1 inch from the bottom edge. That basically splits the difference between the bottom of this mortise and the bottom of the piece. I wanted it to be 1 inch from each corner so that my feet are going to be a nice solid 1 inch by 1 inch square. And then I had to figure out a way to set up this, I believe this is called a compass, anyway, so that I could, draw it out. Now, in order to kind of make my adjustments and creep up on the fit, I took a piece of wood, drew a line on it that matched up with my center line, and then lined that up. Then once I figured out the distance, the radius of this, the proper radius of this circle, I was able to put my compass in place on the center line and know that I was going to have the right setup to be able to draw this arc on this piece and then also on this piece, and that they would be, if not perfectly identical, then the next best thing to it. I'm sure somebody else has already published this in a book and 15 million other YouTube videos. I had to figure it out for myself just now, and I did that because I'm pretty much a genius. I'm sorry I don't have blocking perfectly down yet. I don't have any way of seeing what I'm filming until I go back behind the camera and take a look at the monitor, which, by the way, it's just an iPad. Anyway, to the bandsaw. By the way, this bandsaw is a Rikon 14-inch 10-326. I was going to buy a Laguna the Laguna 14-inch something or other. I had basically been staring at this Laguna for a long time. When I got all the finances together to go actually purchase said Laguna, I went to my local woodcraft in Roswell, Georgia, and I mean, I had the cash. I was like, I would like to buy that bandsaw right there. Give me your bandsaw for, you know, whatever it was. Not cheap, not the most expensive bandsaw in the world. And somehow or another, the guy in the shop who I was talking to basically purchase a bandsaw gave me a sales pitch for a different, cheaper bandsaw. This one. So I bought it. That was a great story, wasn't it? Let me see if I can find a better angle. That's a good angle. I just remembered it was the Laguna 1412. That's the one I was going to purchase.
Ludicrous speed! Ludicrous speed.
Okay, so now I have to figure out how to put a handle on this thing. So let's figure it out together. Okay, so I've got some 3/8 inch oak dowels going through the miter joint, but this gap, which looks more obvious on the camera in actuality than it does in real life. This little line right here is an artifact of sneaking up on the miter, and I kind of just did it on purpose. I didn't mind that I was putting that there. I had to make sure that my saw blade was aligned properly and that I was actually getting a straight cut. I'm going to do a little bit of filling of voids like this one with some epoxy, and I'll probably just fill this too. I've got my wedges here in my through tenon. There's the stretcher. Remember, the stretcher is utile, so we've got 3 woods represented. We've got utile, which is the stretcher, which is basically, if people don't know what utile is, think mahogany, and it's close. Close, not exactly the same. We've got butternut for the stool or seat, the front leg and the back leg. And then we've got oak for these dowels, and these are just purchased at Lowe's or Home Depot ages ago. On the back side here, let's look at our joinery back here. We've got the other side of the stretcher with the tenon, the wedged tenon. And we've got our through tenons from the seat here, the stool. These are going to get a nice little chamfer, kind of just knock back the edges. Everything else, all these other edges will all get a nice round over. Everything inside here, including this. And then we've got our handle, which isn't finished yet, just got the shape of it cut. That was a bit of a pain. I kind of didn't do it the best way I could have done it, but it works. That will get a round over. And then what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna come up with a little serpentine design, and I wanna basically cut a wavy pattern on both vertical pieces of this, of the handle slash back leg. So that's what's going to come next. I'm not sure how much I'm going to cut away, whether it's going to be subtle or extreme. We will see. Oh, hey, I didn't know you were filming back there. Okay, so I'm almost done. It's 10 o'clock now, and I don't want to make noise with power tools or mallet tools anymore. Well, it's dry fitted again, it's assembled. I've rounded over the top part of the stool. I'll get the bottom part of it tomorrow. I've rounded over the back leg, all right? And I basically did the routing with the thing assembled because I wasn't sure. I've made the mistake before of forgetting where to stop the router, and I've rounded over things which had no business being rounded over, and I did not want to make that mistake again. There are curves cut out of the legs, and for the leg curves, all I did was I used a ruler and a compass, and I just made them symmetrical, about a 1 inch. The curve came in about 1 inch. So it matches basically the bottom here on the sides. The curve on this thing was drawn freehand, and I like the way it looks. Nothing is symmetrical, it's just sort of wavy, and you know, it's asymmetrical as a matter of fact on purpose. And you can look up here and you can see where this radius is a larger radius than this one here. That's the look I was going for. I just wasn't sure what it was gonna look like, but I just went for it. I think it looks cool. I just hope that my mom agrees. The handle I placed by basically figuring out what my hand would need to grab, and then I just cut a little area out, cleaned it up, gave it a round over. So I didn't want to leave too little material here, so I put it, I think this is 1 3/4 or 1.5 inches down. I can check that, but I'm kind of testing it out here on camera. I think it'll work. Her hand is obviously probably a little smaller than mine. My hands aren't large. And I can grab this, and it's light. You don't have to have a good grip. You just have to be able to get your fingers in there, and then you can carry this thing around and put it down and step up on it. And this is the first time that's happened. And even though it's not glued together, it held up just fine. That's it for the night. Tomorrow I'll finish all the rounding over and then do the glue up and some finishing. Oh, I'm also gonna put some random curves on the stretcher. Just because. Tomorrow. Good night.